We've got a special BBC investigation to bring you now. We know that hundreds of thousands of people have been making the dangerous journey across the Mediterranean in an attempt to reach Europe for a better life. But what about those who don't make it and end up drowning in the sea or being washed up on shore? Our correspondent Rami Rahayem has discovered that 1,700 men, women and children have been buried in unmarked graves in places like Turkey, Greece and Italy. This is his report.
A boat full of Syrians fleeing war lands on the Greek island of Lesbos. No one on this boat drowned, but one man was crushed to death on board, and another died of a heart attack when he set foot on land. Both victims were traveling with other people, who were able to later confirm their identities.
But there are hundreds more who've either been lost at sea or found but not identified. And their relatives, scattered across the globe, are left with a lingering pain that could haunt them for the rest of their lives.
In the last 2 years, more than 8,000 people have died trying to reach Europe. On average, at least one person each day has been buried in an unmarked grave, which you see in these red dots scattered across Italy, Greece and Turkey. More than 70 of these burial sites have been found as part of this BBC investigation. This cemetery in Lesbos is one of them, with dozens of bodies, most of them unidentified. Some are recovered when the boats they were on capsize. Others wash up ashore days or even weeks later. Many relatives of the missing are desperately trying to find them. Farouk Bakkar has been on such a quest for the last 5 months. His brother and wife died when their boat capsized off Lesbos, but the bodies of their 4 children were never found. He spoke to the BBC from Kabul.
سخت‌ترین بخش ساعتی بود که برای من زنگ زدن که امی حادثه شده، خدا بیامرز جنازه پیدا شده. یعنی سخت‌ترین و طول زندگیم سخت‌ترین روزی که برای ما بود امروز بود.
He has traveled hundreds of miles in Turkey and in Greece, hoping to find either proof of life or at least a DNA match with unidentified bodies of children buried in Lesbos.
ما به این فکریم که سعی کنین هر جا هست یا زنده یا مرده از اینا رو باید پیدا کنیم. زنده اگر پیدا کنیم که برای ما خیلی بهتره، و اگر خدا خروج نکنه اگر جنازه از اینا پیدا شه حداقل تسلی دل فامیل میشه.
Local authorities in all 3 countries have been stretched as they try to deal with unidentified dead bodies.
Because of the large number of bodies found by the Greek authorities, they've had to bring in containers like these. And sometimes the bodies of migrants stay here for days or weeks or even months.
These containers are in the island of Samos, which does not even have a coroner. One had to be flown in from Lesbos.
Είναι ότι αν κάποιος συγγενής ψάχνει, υπάρχουν περιπτώσεις που με έχουν πάρει τηλέφωνο και ψάχνουν κάποιον δικό του συγγενή. Μπορεί να έρθουν στο γραφείο μου να δουν κάποιες φωτογραφίες σαν αρχή και μετά να στείλουν δείγμα DNA στο εργαστήριο δικό τους για να μπορέσουν να αναγνωρίσουν τους δικούς τους νεκρούς.
Many of those who brave death to reach Europe leave relatives behind, with the hope of someday seeing them again. But those lost along the trail leave a darker kind of longing, no longer for reunion, only for closure. Rami Rahayem, BBC News, Lesbos.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Jumana Abo Oxa. She's a Palestinian psychologist who's been working with migrants in Lesbos for the last few months. Thanks very much, Jumana, for joining us on the program. This is an absolutely devastating situation. 17,000 unmarked graves.
Yes, indeed. Thank you first for inviting me to talk in your... yes, it's a huge number of graves here. This is why it's called the journey of death. Most people risk their lives taking this journey from Turkey to Europe, and many don't make it.
And I mean, the work that you do as a psychologist, how do you work with the families who are searching for their loved ones?
This is very difficult for the families. In order for the families to have closure after going through so many traumas on the way, running away from war, running away from the various difficult situations they've been living in, and then they arrive here and they've lost one of their family members, trying to find the bodies, the hope that they might still be alive, keeps them going and searching, although in many cases there's a slim chance that they can find them alive. It sometimes prevents them from moving on with their lives. So even though they continue their journey, they reach their destination countries, they're still hoping somehow, some way, they will find their loved ones.
Is there some kind of identifying process? I mean, are photographs kept? Are they shared? How you know, what's the journey that these people take in looking for their family members?
There are different ways for looking for the family members. It depends which side they're in. If they're in Turkey, many people go to police stations, to morgues, to places where they have the bodies that wash up to shore. If they're on the Greek side, they need to register with the Red Cross, where they're collecting the data of the missing people and they try to find them. DNA test is taken to do a match for the bodies that are found. And in many cases, the Red Cross, they take pictures of the washed bodies in order to compare it with the details given by the family members. It's also, there's a difficulty in this because the family members are not always allowed to look at the pictures unless a certain identification has been matched by the Red Cross. And then they might be able to see the bodies. And then many cases, the bodies stay underwater for more than months. And the body is disfigured and it's very difficult to identify it. So that makes it even much worse and difficult to identify the bodies.
Indeed, a really heartbreaking situation there for those people making that journey and then losing their family members. Jumana, thanks very much for joining us here on the programme. Of course, there is so much more to be said on this relatively unspoken issue. To read the full report from our team in Lesbos and to hear more from the struggling families, please head to our website. It's at the usual place, bbc.com/news, and it's also available on our smartphone app as well.